Joining us live now via Zoom from Abuja is an international constitution law expert, Livingston Owichi. Thanks for joining us on TVC News at 7. Let's begin with Nigeria's position as regards the Russian-Ukraine impasse. It would appear that Nigeria has taken a stance with Ukraine. Is this a development that surprises you?
Well, I don't think Nigeria has actually taken a stand. Ordinarily, the first stand the Nigerian state should take is to have ensured the evacuation of its citizens that are now trapped in Ukraine. There were reports and various developments that led on to the war that broke out the last 48 hours. America and some other allied nations issued ultimatum to its citizens in that conflict-ridden country, that troubled zone, and evacuated their citizens. But Nigeria failed to evacuate its own citizens, and now people are stranded. Some of them are being offered options of free citizenship if they accept to be conscripted at this point into the Ukrainian army to fight Russia. And you know, Ukraine is one of Nigeria's highest education tourism destination. We have thousands of our students, of our children resident in that country for educational purposes. But the Nigerian government sadly issued a statement which some other international media took up to say that they should defend themselves. CNN particularly said that Nigeria's government has told its citizens in Ukraine, you are on your own. And that's quite embarrassing. But having said so, I think it's my view that should any of the Nigerian children fall casualty to the ongoing war in Ukraine, the Nigerian government should be held responsible and held to account, because it's a global concern what is going on in Ukraine. If we should take a stand, either at the national level or at the continental level, in a crisis situation currently has been witnessed in Ukraine, it should be a stand advocating for peace.
I get your point quite clearly, Mr. Owichi. According to government, Russia is targeting military installations in Ukraine. Perhaps the Nigerian government has superior intel than what you and I know. But let's talk international laws here. According to the UN Charter, the use of force by any state is completely prohibited in international relations, particularly if the use of force affects the territorial integrity or political independence of a nation. In this particular case, would you say that Russia is violating the law of the UN Charter?
Without any reservations, of course, there is a grievous violation of international law, but you also begin to ask, what is international law? Yes, the international laws are supposed to be legal instruments binding relationship between the various sovereign nations within the international community. But you see, the subject of international law has so many limitations that almost make it impossible to be enforced against certain category of countries. It has a very vital, and the other limitation is that international law, as rightly put, has the limitation as to its enforcement against powerful states, means that it only functions within the realm of might, practically speaking. It's a very unfortunate situation, but that's where we begin to cite instances of various precedents in the past on the implementation of international law, where countries such as the United States had invaded independent countries such as Nicaragua, Iraq, Afghanistan, Iran, and even Libya here next door, that has not remained the same after the killing of Muammar Gaddafi between America and NATO. So when you talk about the subject of international law, the limitation is to the extent that when these type of issues play out, mostly the solutions that are applied are within the realms of diplomatic engagement. It is when diplomatic engagements now fail that you can now begin to consider other options. In the current situation in Ukraine, it's a very unfortunate situation. Incidentally, America had set a negative precedent. Russia is playing the big brother role, trying to copy from the falsified father figure role that America had played in the past. So those who have enacted the international law at the United Nations know that America and the other powerful nations such as Russia have pulled themselves far above the law in an occasion like this. So how do you now incur enforcement over the infraction or the breach of these international laws? In the current circumstance, the allied nations have taken up to economic sanctions, but you must also look at it again. What will be the impact or the immediate implication of economic sanction on a country like Russia that analysts have said only responds to strength? Because remember, Russia is the biggest or about the biggest country in the world in terms of landmass, and it has its ally and strongest to say the least, as China. China has the biggest population in the world and controls the global economy and holds America's economy in its testicles.
I get your point,
so
Mr.
when
Wichi.
You have that type of scenario,
I guess we'll wait to see how all of these play out, particularly now that we see the UK president seeking an audience with Putin. Perhaps there might still be a diplomatic window to all of these, but it's a good place to leave it. Livingston Wichi is an international constitution law expert. Thank you for talking to us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.